Hello and welcome to the Therapy Floor with Dr. Ritz and Dr. Vicky.
Hi there. We are on the floor getting deep into the human experience, uncovering everyday dilemmas through the lenses of two psychologists.
Let's start unpacking today's dilemma.
Let's go for it.
So this comes in from a male in his 30s and he says, I find myself trapped in a workplace paradox that has been haunting me for a while now. Okay, this sounds serious. Despite pouring my heart and soul into my work, the sense of accomplishment and reward eludes me. Even during my annual leave, I can't seem to detach, always logging in to ensure everything is done right. It's disheartening to feel stuck 2 pay grades below where I believe I should be. It's a constant battle turning work into a game where I feel compelled to strategically highlight my contributions just to stay on the radar for promotions and bonuses. Here's the crux of my dilemma. Part of me is urging to break free, considering a leap into the world of contracting for a fresh start. Interesting. Yet the other part insists on holding out until the next review, hoping for a change or recognition. Is waiting for the review a wise move, or should I take the plunge into contracting sooner rather than later? What do you think, Dr. V?
Thank you to this person for sending in your dilemma. Do you know, I don't know what came up for you whilst you were reading it, but there was just such emotive language in there that made me think several things. So just even the thought of breaking free, I thought, yeah, well, if you want to break free, if you put it like that, go for it. Why are you trapped? But I know it's not as easy as that, but I guess I'm thinking about his language kind of makes me feel, it's just feeling that this is what he really wants to do. He knows what he wants to do, but he feels apprehension about doing so. So yeah, so there's that. He already knows what he wants to do. Maybe the dilemma is not knowing, having some certainty about whether it's going to play out. Yeah. How to do it, and if he does take the risk and the plunge and braves the unknown world, is it going to work out for him? So if he does stay, I guess I'm guessing that we may need to help him shape his mindset about this, about what staying can mean, because it doesn't have to mean that he's imprisoned if he stays. So that's just high level, top level, what's coming to me. What about you?
For me, I feel like the language was playing as well such an important role, because I feel as though the way that sometimes a client can bring something to the therapy room or to the therapy floor, as he's done today, gives us such strong insight into how they also make sense of the world that they're living in.
Yeah.
And so, as you said, he's using things like haunted. It's quite
evocative.
I don't
know. One of those.
Dramatic is what I wanted to say. There's a lot of... There's a movie-like substance to it. I'm pulled in. The words are compelling.
Yeah.
There's a story there that he wants to tell us. And, part of the story also wonders, is this the first time he's really thought about it himself? Does he make space for his story? Does he make space for these thoughts? Is he just going, just working, really working really hard, and then feeling almost a bit resentful of how much he's doing, or having to almost play this game, as he says? It's strategic planning. So he's obviously putting in a lot of thought into how he wants to present this to us. I feel like he's putting in a lot of thought into his work. This guy's doing a lot. He's doing a lot, isn't he? I feel like that's what his language is telling us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like he's being acknowledged for everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's lacking in his work life.
Yeah.
And that he values that too. He wants to be acknowledged. I actually like his confidence in saying, I genuinely believe I'm 2 grades below where I should be. I think to get to that thinking, that's quite admirable. Is it admirable?
Yeah.
Admirable. Yeah.
It speaks of like having some self-belief and
Yeah.
self-worth.
So he has got confidence there. He has got confidence there.
Yeah.
But then towards the end, we hear a little bit of a lack of confidence, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of things coming up. I'm probably gone on a little bit of a train journey at the moment.
No, it's fine. Well, he takes us on a journey, doesn't he?
He
So anyway, but I also think there's a contradiction here. I'm just
love those contradictions.
You do love contradictions,
I love
don't you?
But you spotted it this time.
Yeah. But so he doesn't necessarily get a sense of accomplishment when he does do well, yet he's striving for the next thing, and he feels like he's not necessarily compensated appropriately or adequately for his work. So there's a contradiction there. You want more, but yet when you are succeeding and you are doing well, it doesn't even move you. It doesn't necessarily fulfill you.
But I'm wondering if we're talking about two types of accomplishments.
Okay, go for it. Tell me more.
Because I'm going to disagree. I don't think that is a contradiction.
No?
I think what he's saying is internally, I'm accomplished, but externally, it's not being acknowledged.
Yeah.
Through the promotions, through the bonuses.
Yes.
And that's where the frustration lies. So it's almost like, right, shall I just keep going then and hold out until this next review where maybe they are going to see everything that I've done?
Right. So are you saying that the things that he's achieving right now are not moving him? What he really wants to see, what will move him, is if he is shown that recognition by being compensated financially and with a new status.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can buy that.
Yeah.
I can buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to him then?
I'd want to know why it's important to him. Not that I want to take it away from him, but that sense of wanting to be acknowledged and to have recognition, where does that come from? That is not a bad thing, by the way. No. It's okay for that to be your value. But I guess that would help us in knowing how to move forward and how quickly and at what steps to take to move forward. Does recognition have to be in this particular role, in this particular setting? Can he get recognition in other capacities, in other ways? And if none of those are true, and actually it is important for him to have some kind of association with status at work, and that's one of his values, which is nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then I wonder if people at work know this. Are they aware of what motivates him, what drives him at work? Are they aware of how he's feeling like he wants to jump ship? Is there anything more that they can do?
So I'd come back to that idea of recognition, and I'd be wanting to know, do you get verbal recognition? Like, are you getting feedback? Are you being told you're doing a really good job? Like, you're so valuable, or whatever the words are that he needs. Is he getting that? Because I think there's two types. I think, you could be in a position where you're getting all that verbal recognition, and then the pay grade's not matching.
Yeah.
And the bonus isn't matching, or the promotion isn't matching. So almost like, you're waiting. You keep getting told you're doing a good job, but then maybe the status isn't adding up to what you're being told.
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference there, isn't there, between like a financial and a status recognition and a verbal recognition.
Yeah. Yeah. There is.
So I think if we tweeze out the two different types of recognition there. And so I just wonder, I know he's not really told us, but I kind of wonder if we take it a bit further, and if somebody is maybe getting that verbal recognition, and if they feel content with that, and that's great, and they're happy with where they are, then fantastic. But if they're getting that verbal recognition, but they're not getting that financial or that status or that promotional recognition, and that's what's making them frustrated, what do you think is the way to move forward with that?
So I would say that he needs to have a conversation with himself about what he wants. and be very clear about it. And if he feels like he should have some physical compensation, some physical recognition, then he needs to be quite explicit in asking for it. And if they say no, then he needs to have another conversation with himself about where he goes and what he does.
I think the first conversation needs to include how to prepare himself if they say no.
Yeah.
Almost come up with a protocol, like how you see just yes, no.
Yeah.
And then what's it called? A flow chart.
Yeah.
He needs to come up with a flow chart. Go and ask. Yeah. If they say yes, fantastic. Ding, 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 ding. If they say no, okay, what does it still say about your self-worth and your confidence? You obviously believe in yourself enough that you've asked for this. So now use that belief to propel you forward.
Yeah.
How do you, if that financial mean and gain and recognition is meaningful to you, which again, there's nothing wrong with that. I think people are striving for that. Then how do you start to get those needs met?
Yeah.
How do you start to get those values met? And then I think that will hopefully start to unshackle him from this.
So interesting you use the word unshackle, because I keep thinking, sorry to interrupt your point.
No, I was just trying to read what he'd written.
But I keep thinking that he's given us an insight into what he's currently feeling by using such strong emotive language. And I think shackles is the right word. And actually who he's giving them the power to shackle him.
Yeah.
So I want him to also think about being stuck, because you use the word stuck, or trapped rather. Being trapped. Who is trapping you? What is trapping you? Feeling like you're having to play a game in order to win the rat race or to win the next level, to get to the next level of a promotion, like a game, right? Literally, how can you get to the next level, and who's stopping you from progressing to the next level? And also him wanting to break free and tap into the unknown, but which could also read as risky yet exciting world of contracting. So I think there just needs to be a conversation that he has with himself about what does it look like to be making your own decisions, and for you to determine where you go, how high you go, how fast you go. Maybe you're someone who does need to be working for themselves.
I was just going to say that. I loved how you used that phrase. He needs to be in charge of making his own decisions.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, you're so right. It sounds like he's trapped in this game. Like it's like literally like Super Mario Brothers, like going through these pipes.
Yeah.
And somebody is controlling, or he's feeling he's feeling as though someone is controlling him.
Yeah.
And that they are the only ones that have the power to move him up to the next level. He's like ready to, he's on level 8 and he wants to be on level 10 or 11, whatever.
Yeah.
Can't do maths right now. He needs to get back in control. And what does that look like to get back in control?
And look, being in control can look like this, because I'm just coming back to his dilemma, or the crux of the dilemma, as he said. Do I break out, or do I wait for the next round of promotions? But being in control doesn't necessarily mean he has to make that decision right now. Being in control can just mean that he's making a decision that either way, at some point, I'm going. And in the meantime, this is what I'm going to be doing to, I don't know, boost on my CV, learn new skills, have the security of stability of regular
I don't think
income.
you necessarily always have to wait until you have left your job to start thinking about what the next phase might look like. I think that probably still, forms part of your professional work and your professional identity to think about, okay, what do I necessarily need to be doing now if contracting is my next step?
And it being an unknown, but maybe you can pour some of this energy into finding out about it, doing your research.
Who do you know that is doing it? Where did you even get the idea of contracting? So are you around contractors? Speak to them. Find a mentor. Ask them how they got into it.
I just want to tell this person to break free and go. But I think this is also like a personal thing for me.
Oh, say more.
I'm always mindful of working with people and not telling them to quit their jobs, because I always want to say, leave. Leave. But that's something personal for me.
This is not Dr. Vicky telling everyone out to go and quit their job.
And I actually tell some people as well, I'm like, I know that sometimes I can be biased, so I'm being very careful about not telling you to do that.
I've worked with a lot of people who have.
Who have what?
Quit their job whilst they've been with me.
Yeah, I have too, but I didn't really want to admit that, because then it would be like I'm proving my point. That I'm telling people to leave their jobs.
Well, I wonder if what it is that you have maybe seen it before they saw it.
I think
and so. And then you've just been on that journey with them.
I think
and so. And that's where the outcome has come.
Yeah, I think so. Because let's not get it twisted. I'm not telling people who are happy with their jobs and maybe who are just going through a difficult stage in their work, in their environment, relationships at work. I'm not telling them to leave. But the people who I can see have that in them.
Do you know what? I feel that there's a quality about a type of person who's going, not a type of person, but a person that's going through a type of situation in their work where they're not happy, they're not fulfilled for whatever reason. Like, I feel like there's often a quality in them in how they present. And for me personally, I get that feeling really quickly when they come into my therapy room.
So do I.
Yeah. And I just know in my head, I'm like, this person just needs to leave.
Do you think it's because we're like that?
What do you mean?
Do you think it's because we don't work for anybody?
Yeah.
We work for ourselves.
But we used to.
Yeah, I know. But did we really want to? Okay, let me speak for myself.
Okay, yeah, you speak for yourself.
I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
And I remember coming to you and also, asking for some advice actually about this is the situation that I'm facing and this is how I'm dissatisfied. And you being like, should I say what you said?
You can. I probably don't.
This was not Dr. Ritz. This was not Dr. Ritz talking.
This bit always is like, because does this ever happen to you in therapy where like a client later will be like, and do you remember when you said this? And you know they're about to say something, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I say?
Yeah, all the time. What did I say? What did I say?
And then they say it, and I was like, that's not bad. Oh, that was really good.
Yeah. I think you were playing devil's advocate with me.
Oh, really? Okay, go on, tell me what I said.
Because you were like, I just don't think you're going to do it.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
And I went home that night and I was like, Rich doesn't think I'm going to do this. I'm going to show her. I handed in my CV the next morning. Yeah. The next morning. So, yeah. So there is that part of me that I recognize that that struggle.
Yeah.
That struggle with living authentically. And I think that's probably the difference, right? It's not that I'm wanting everyone to be free. I want everyone to be living authentically.
This is it, because that's the quality I was talking about, is you can see the disconnect when that person walks into your room. And that's why I was saying I think there are people out there, and I've also been in jobs that I've genuinely loved.
Yeah.
And there's a quality about it that comes alive within me, or that I've seen alive in other people. They come in, they talk about their work, and they're so, like, they genuinely love working for that organisation or that company or whatever they're doing. But then that substance of when somebody isn't, I think it's just so telling.
It is.
Yeah, and you're right there. It's that lack of just like congruence within themselves.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes.
It does. So I always want to encourage people to literally move forward in the direction that is meaningful to them, life-giving to them. And from this person's dilemma and the way he's phrased it, it's like he's dissatisfied, he feels unfulfilled, he's playing games, he doesn't know whether to hold out, to be free. So I'm like, okay, yeah, we could give you some tools to think about how you can ask for what you think you need, what you deserve. We could help.
Give me one quick one there.
Okay, what?
A tool. Like, let's give him a tool to go and ask for it first.
Okay, so he can make a note of all the things that he has done, maybe in the last 12 months. And not just tasks like I've completed on X amount of projects, but how have you delivered on that? What did you do that was different? What did you do to clinch the deal? What did you do to make the customer really happy? Like, how have you navigated your achievements?
I like that.
What input has he given?
Yeah.
How has he supported his team, his colleagues? And the outcome that you think this has had, or the benefit this has had for the company or the organization. Because I was able to close X deal, it brought in X amount of revenue for the company. Or because I designed this system, this reduced our processing time or whatever it may be by this amount. So you have clearly documented the value that you bring. And then maybe you can also do some scouting and look elsewhere, other companies, and what they would be giving you for demonstrating the same skill set. And then maybe coming up with like a figure. So this is based on all of this. I think that it's fair for me to become compensated by X amount. What do you think about this? That's how
I think that's such a smart approach.
Yeah,
I really like that.
Thanks.
I really like that. And coming back to the making a note, I always say to my clients, especially when they're coming with that fear of moving on to the next stage when it comes to working, like whether you're moving on or not, every year or even every 6 months, do a mini pro forma of your achievements. Keep on top of it. Like, keep reminding yourself of what you've done, what you've delivered, how you've done it. I say actually create a folder in your email, like your work email or even your personal one, and then just keep sending yourself emails on it, and then add it to that folder so you've got it there.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna use that.
Yeah.
Not for myself, I mean, but for like
with clients.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of given you hopefully some tangible tips, but also just some extra thinking for you to just navigate where you're coming at the moment.
Yeah.
And come back to recognition. I think that seems to be really key for you. What type of recognition do you need right now? What are you getting? What are you lacking? With what you value, with where you want to take your life, what are those next steps for you?
Yeah. And I also want to just emphasize again that I'm just again looking at his last statement. Should I take the plunge sooner rather than later? So you already know you want to do it. It's just about how soon.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage you to be courageous, actually, in going for what you want. It's not easy.
No.
But courage just means feeling the fear and do it anyway. And that's literally my motto, one of my mottos for life. If it makes you feel afraid, maybe you should walk in that direction, walk towards it. But, don't take an uncalculated risk completely.
Yeah.
Have some things kind of like in the background, or, have some sense of security as well.
Yeah. Create your own financial and emotional safety net.
Yeah.
To help you take that path.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we have this dilemma from a woman who is 37 years old. And she says, I've been thinking about my relationship with my mother recently. I love her a lot and she would do anything for me and my family. But with all her giving, there are subtle expectations that come with it. She expects a lot in return for her giving in a passive way. I'm noticing it more the older I get. She will remind me and others of this and say, I've done this much for you, and get upset if I make choices that she does not necessarily like or that suit her. Ooh. I'm in my 30s and I want to create more choices for myself while still having a loving and respectful relationship with her. I'd really like some advice on this.
Thank you, firstly, for sharing that. And the fact that you are becoming more aware of it, I think it says a lot about your kind of psychological growth in itself, that is something you weren't aware of. You're becoming more aware of it. You're seeing more of it. And sometimes, like, we either, like, firstly, I feel like with those, because I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this when they hear this.
Yeah.
On
both sides?
On both sides, yeah. And in lots of different cultures as well, I feel that this comes up. I think initially when we're around these behaviours when we're growing up, they're just normal to us.
Yeah.
And then the older we get, the more we interact with other people, the more maybe people call out these types of behaviours, the more we maybe start to realise, oh, actually, I'm not sure if that is okay, or I don't know if that does fit with me.
Or it doesn't have to be this way.
Or it doesn't have to be this way, exactly. So, and I think that can be hard for somebody as well to start to dismantle that. So just firstly, well done on acknowledging it. Admire your bravery in bringing it here and wanting to think about it. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. And then the second thing that really kind of came up for me, and tell me what you think about this, Vicky, but I feel like there's a bit of an equation going on here in the sense where love means agreeing.
Yeah.
So in order for it to be loving and harmonious and like I need to, or she thinks I need to agree with her for it to be a loving relationship. And then if I'm not agreeing, it can be quite passive.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit prickly. It can be passive aggressive.
Yeah. And love also equals giving. Because and sacrifice maybe. Because it sounds like she's also saying that her mum loves her a lot and would do anything. So there's already this sense of like, if I love, I do. If I love, I give.
Whereas love can be very different to that.
Yeah.
Love can have nothing to do with doing or giving or receiving. It can just be about holding. It can be about being. It can be about acknowledging. It doesn't have to have a behavioural element to it.
Yeah. Or even if it does, I'm always an advocate for having frank conversations, even though they can be really difficult. Because what would be really good if she were to get her mum's, in her own words, her mum sharing, this is what love means to me, actually.
So if she could understand what love means from her mum's perspective.
Yeah. She could explicitly ask her, what does love look like for you?
Yeah.
Or how do I show you? How do you best receive love from me? How can I really express it to you? Because if her mum is thinking, I genuinely love my child and therefore I will give her the world, and is also thinking, well, if my child loves me, she'll also do the same for me. So then you can kind of, you can do some shaping there and like shape her expectations and say, no, I do love you. This is what is in my capacity to give you. Can you recognize that as actually me loving you?
And when we shape people's expectations, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to agree with it.
No.
So I think you might need to just prepare yourself for that a little bit.
Yeah.
And that you don't keep changing that until they are happy with it, so to speak. It's, you come back to this, or I want to come back to what you wrote here about choices. And so if you are, I want to make choices for myself, fantastic. And you maybe then want to articulate to your mum, set up her expectations of those choices that you want to make for yourself, that maybe aren't the choices she would make for you or she wants you to make for yourself, and that she might not necessarily be happy about that. So you can set someone's expectations up, but then if their emotions don't match your joy of your expectations, I think there's some tolerating to be done there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if she were to say to her mum, Mum, I've been thinking that the times when we get into disagreements, like, first of all, I appreciate, just like she said it out here, I appreciate so much what you do for us. Like, it is so loving, so kind of you. And I will never take that for granted. And at the same time, I also want to flag something up for you that I'm feeling. And I wonder if you can actually, if this rings true for you. But it seems like from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mum, but it seems from my perspective that when I do things that you don't like, or when I go against maybe a decision that you have already come to on my behalf for me, when I'm not giving you exactly what you want, it seems like your love is withheld or you're disappointed with me. And in that moment, I feel as if I'm not enough or I'm not doing enough for you to satisfy you. And that makes me really sad. What do you make of that? Have you noticed that? Am I getting it wrong? How do you feel about that? And I think if you phrase it like that, it's going to be quite interesting because she will have to think about it. She could be someone who's completely defensive and will just block it out and deny it. But I think she'll go away and think about it.
It's still there, isn't it?
She'll think about it.
Yeah.
It's still there.
It's been communicated, so it's out there.
It has. And then the next time it happens again, you can say, remember when we had that conversation, Mum? And I
Keep
said,
coming back to it.
This is how I feel like when we get into this similar place. Again, I'm left feeling like I'm not enough. How do you feel about that? That's how I'm left feeling. What can we do about this to change this around? Because this is not nice. And it's not nice to feel like I'm constantly disappointing you or letting you down. How are we going to get out of this? I think those kinds of conversations are game changers for relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It comes back to power, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it may not mean that anything will change from your mum's perspective, and she may still carry on with that same behavior. But then, like you were saying, the tolerating, how do you then move forward? Knowing that she is adamant and stuck in her position, how do you navigate your relationship with her, your boundaries, accepting her for who she is, accepting that she may not change?
I think that's when you really step into the role of being an adult, like having an adult to adult relationship with your parents rather than a child to adult relationship.
Yeah. That's a good one, actually. Is she in her adult right now? She wants to be, doesn't she?
She does, because that's what she's saying, isn't she?
She wants to make some choices. She's got a family of her own.
Yeah, she's an adult.
Yeah, she's an adult. So,
when did you become an adult emotionally? That's what I'd be asking her.
Yeah, I don't even know the answer to that myself. But
we'll talk about it later.
I was thinking, when did I become an adult? Yeah,
it's an interesting one. I answered it for myself, and it took me to quite a deep place.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay, that's too deep for me to talk about right now.
It is. We'll come back to it when we make our tea.
Yeah.
So I like asking my clients that question. Yeah. Often when we've built a bit of a relationship up, I kind of say to them, so you're whatever age you are, but when did you actually become an adult? And they can get quite stunned by that question. I feel like you're a bit stunned.
I am a bit stunned. Yeah. And do you know what? I'm also thinking of a client that I'm going to ask this.
You're just taking everything away today.
I'm taking everything, and I'm going to claim it as mine as well. No, I won't. But I'm thinking about it, and she always says, "You always ask me these really difficult questions. Like, why do you ask me these questions?" Yeah. I'm going to ask her this.
Yeah, ask her
she's going to love me.
Yeah.
No, she's going to hate me. But yeah, it's a really good one.
It's a really good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
When did you become an adult?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it stops you in your tracks, and it makes you really makes you think about how you're interacting with the world, with people, with different people, to then think about, well, with these people, I feel okay being an adult. Yeah. But why is it with these people I don't? Yeah. What's going on there?
Yeah.
What part of me is coming out? Obviously the child there. Then put an age on that. How old is that person? So I'd even ask her, when you are maybe making choices for yourself that your mum doesn't agree with, how old does that make you feel? Like, does it maybe come back to teenage years or something where you wanted to start, experimenting and doing things on your own a bit, and maybe that wasn't accepted or acknowledged, or maybe it was squashed, or maybe you never did it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'd be thinking about age ranges, because I feel like she's talking from two different ages. You know, this little person who's like all about the love and the currency of love, maybe at the moment. And then a woman who's claiming her own and wanting to claim her own identity.
Yeah.
That's more grown up and stepping into her adult self.
Do you know what I'm also thinking about? How hard it can be, just detracting from this scenario for one second, how difficult it can be to be the adult in a parent-child relationship and to actually have a parent who operates more in a child role. And, you know, they may have, so the same question, when did you become the adult? They may have always been the adult, actually. They may have been the adult thinking ahead, thinking of their parents' feelings, thinking of what they needed, how to prevent them from, I don't know, having like meltdowns or becoming, just really angry. They've had to manage their parents. And that's also really hard.
Really hard. I think it's so hard when you become a caretaker much early on than you're developmentally ready for.
Yeah. Because I think that easily develops into people pleasing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And people pleasing isn't just about not wanting to hurt other people. It's about survival.
Yeah.
I need to survive. I need to survive rejection. So therefore, I must give this person what they need.
And chaos.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it.
Say more.
So for example, if I don't take care, if I don't please, if I don't step into that role, everything's going to unravel. There's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
And so in order to keep things calm and stable, that requires me to just, hold everything together, hold everything in.
Yeah.
One thing you said at the start that I wanted to come back to, maybe we've answered this already, but you said, this is interesting coming from two different perspectives.
Yeah.
The perspective of the daughter, but then also the perspective of the mother.
Yeah.
So can you say more about that one?
You're just giving it back to
me.
I am. I was thinking about people who could resonate with this, who can recognize within themselves that they have conditional love.
Right. Yep.
Or their love is conditional.
Yeah.
And how hard it can be actually to even admit that to yourself and then to try and do something different.
I mean, I think we all have qualities of that, don't we?
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a huge extent, but I wonder if everybody can resonate with this idea of, at a time where we might be disappointed, where we think, I kind of went out of my way for that person. And, or I did this for them. And
yeah.
Because I wonder if what the mum is actually maybe feeling is a bit of rejection.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it.
That was a big sigh and something is coming.
I'm going to think about the times where I have been like this. And I think if I'm honest with myself, the times when I've expected more from people who I felt like I was giving more, I had to check myself about why I was giving. And was this really a fair, equitable relationship that also gave me things? Or was it just about meeting the other person's needs? And if my relationship with that person was all about meeting their needs, what was I getting?
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Why was I doing that?
Caretaking.
Why was I caretaking?
Well, what did it bring up for you?
Well,
firstly, that's your profession, so you're naturally going to step into that.
Yes, definitely. And I think there have been times where I've confused friendship with my profession, if I'm honest.
I wonder, is it because it comes so naturally to you that you feel able to do it, and then at times, because you've been able to do it, and there's maybe not an expectation, but it's like, I can lean on Vicky for this, and then so you're going to do it, And then it gets to that point where it's just like, I don't want to do it. Or it feels like I feel like I keep doing it now.
I didn't recognize that. I just kept doing, giving until I asked for something in return.
Right. Okay.
And it wasn't given.
Yeah.
And then I recognized, whoa, this is really imbalanced here.
Yeah.
And it made me think, I think the question that I had to ask myself is, why am I not asking? Why am I giving, expecting that
the balance was tipped?
The balance was tipped. And I was okay to keep doing it for so long. Why? Do you know what I mean? Like, why?
But I wonder if maybe there was just an element of trust there, that maybe that you didn't need anything in that moment or those moments up until a point you did need something.
Yeah, that does come into it as well. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Thanks for coming to my online diary.
But it got me thinking as well about, because I feel what happens to me is, because it can feel quite easy to give. This is why I'm saying, does it come quite naturally to you?
There is that.
I think for me, it can come quite easily to me, that sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it, that I'm giving so much of myself. But I get to that point of, oh, I'm really tired. Yeah. And then I always have to I have to hold myself accountable for that. Well, no one asked you to do that. Exactly. No one asked you to step into that. You were just happy to be there and doing it. And now you're getting annoyed at yourself for doing it. So recalibrate that. And that can be hard, because you're setting the tone, aren't you, of a relationship, of a friendship. And then to try and recalibrate it afterwards, people sometimes are not going to be happy, or it's not going to go the way that you intend it to go.
Yeah. I think it's okay to be constantly checking in with yourself. Am I giving from a place of generosity and because I have the capacity and or am I giving from a place of expectation and entitlement as well, in regards to expecting the same back? Would I this is something to ask yourself. Would I be happy giving at this level and doing this if I didn't receive it back?
Yeah.
That's a good question to ask yourself from time to time.
I heard about this recently, actually, in an article. It was a study, but I can't remember, so don't quote me on it. But there was basically something about people that are givers. There's kind of three types of people. There's the givers, there's the takers, people that are happy to be givers, people that are quite happy to be takers, and then the people that are in between. Yeah. Almost like the mum here. I think they call them hijackers or something. Can't remember that. They're happy to give, but they expect in return. Yeah. And that you're never going to find somebody who's 100% I'll give and always be happy with giving. But if there's I think it was a 60 or 80% happy to do it, they genuinely were much more happier in life than those that were takers, and much more so than those that were hijackers.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So so maybe that's the question to ask yourself. I know we've kind of taken over this dilemma, but if you're somebody who is a giver, your capacity to give is always going to change.
Yeah, definitely.
But does it feel authentic to where you are?
Yeah. And does it feel risky to not give? If you decide, actually, no, I can't in this right now. Yeah. Does that feel risky? Does it feel dangerous? Does it feel threatening?
Yeah. Yeah. Are there conditions?
Yeah.
Are there conditions to my giving?
I hope we've answered that. I think we have.
We've answered it from both. So if your mum's listening as well, I hope she can take something from it, and I hope you can too. But overall, I just hope that it brings you both closeness, that you feel able to have the confidence to, as Vicky was saying, I really loved what you said, the narrative you gave her, or the narrative to have that thinking about, just naming it, Mum, when this happened, this is how I feel, this is what it's like for me, what's it like for you? Communication doesn't have to be blame, take ownership for what it's like for you. Don't kind of rally back and forth, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. Take ownership what it's like for you, and share that, because the conversation hopefully, if the other person is able to receive it, will be more fruitful.
Yeah.
And if they're not, you've said it, it's there. You can keep coming back to it.
She can continue taking ownership over not continuing with that dynamic, like her part in the dynamic.
Yeah.
Which is to give her mum what she wants.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that kind of brings us to the end of today's dilemmas. What did you learn today, Vicky?
Okay, what did I learn? What I'm taking away with me today is the phrase that you used that literally just stopped me in my tracks. How old were you when you became an adult? Or when did you become an adult?
When did you become an adult?
I really like that because I also think it plays into like the different roles that we have in our families, but also in all of our relationship circles, the role and the position that you take. So yeah, that's one that I'm going to be taking and using with my clients. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. I'll send you my commission.
All right.
Great.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. What did you learn?
No, I'm only joking. Because it's an interesting one, because I think like there's this, especially on social media, I feel like people sometimes like flag these things as this new thing I've created or come up with.
Yeah.
And it's not really. It's always linked back, I find, to not old, but like years of psychological thinking and theory.
Principles, wisdom.
Yeah.
It's all tied in, isn't it?
It
I think it's really hard to separate like psychology from religion sometimes, from philosophy.
Absolutely.
All the things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and so I was joking about the commission thing. I don't claim it as my own. Just part of my learning.
Yeah.
I'm taking away, I really liked the reminder. It made a reminder within me of owning feelings. When we were talking about the dilemma between the mother or the daughter and her mum, I liked what you said, and I'm going to take away that, you know, when communicating, really coming back to owning how something made me feel or how something impacted me, and just using that as information to ask the other person, did they see that? Did they feel that? Did they hear that?
Yeah.
How can we make it different? And the co-creation of that. So I'm going to take that away with me.
Cool.
What did you guys learn? Please comment below. We really love reading them. Others do too. It's a community we're creating to all learn from each other.
Yeah.
Like, we're not the experts here. We learn from you guys as well. So remember to please like and subscribe on our social media channels. It means a lot to us. It means that we get to keep doing this, keep making these videos, and keep this going. This is Dr. Ritz
and Dr. Vicky, and we will see you on the therapy floor soon. Bye.